was the overall?
Welcome to the East West Football Network Draft Show. We got Fidel Barraza, got Costa and Alex. We got Walter
What's
Sugar
up, guys?
and Coach Hue Jackson. It's been a
What's going
while.
on?
Hey guys,
It's been a while, Coach. How you been
Yeah,
since
I've been
football season?
I've been great. As you know, I'm now down at TSU with Eddie George and the crew. Looking forward to that. But boy, what a night for some of these young men as they get ready to transition into the National Football League.
Congratulations, Coach, by the way.
Yeah,
Thank you.
big congrats.
All right, Coach. So we're actually the draft's just about to start. Back when you were coaching an NFL team, tell us about the emotions that you were going through right before draft kicks off.
Wow, it's really a feeling of wanting to be sure and know that you can't really be sure. And so there's a lot of anxiety that goes on as you walk through the hallways, probably 4 hours before the draft is starting to happen. Everybody gets an extra workout in. You make sure your clothes look nice. There's normally going to be a meeting about 30 minutes before the draft starts with the executive team, which is normally the owners, the GM, the head coach, and whoever the GM wanted to bring with them. You go over different scenarios. You talk about what could happen, what could not happen. You try to prepare for everything, knowing that you just got to be reactive to certain things. But then it really gets interesting because your phone might ring. And when you're in there, is there a trade? Because people talk about trades before the draft, as you know. So everybody's on pins and needles because, boy, the phone rings. You think here comes a trade, and sometimes it's one of your buddies in the coaching circle just teasing and making sure his phone works, but knowing that you're on edge a little bit, so it gets to be a little fun. But it's a time for all of the hard work from the scouts, the coaches, the GM, the executive team, ownership to come together, be collaborative, and pick the right player for the organization.
Wow, that's really informative, Coach. Hey, so explain to us, what is every 32 head coach in the league? Where are they at? Who are they surrounded? What's going on? Explain that process real quick.
It might be different in everybody's room. It's going to be interesting tonight because we're back to the traditional way. So you're going to laugh wherever the TV cameras are. I promise you, people are making sure the setup where everybody sits at, it's down to that kind of detail.
Wow.
You have to make sure where people are going to be sitting at. Are you sitting to the right or to the left of the person that's going to call, use phones? All of that is so important, and make sure you have nailed down. You got to make sure you have all the trade percentages. Is this going to be a good trade based on the point system? All those cards are up there. All the different things that could happen are sitting there, and everything's organized. And the crazy thing is, right after the first pick, everything becomes disorganized because it's different. It's really weird.
Casa, Alex, you got anything for Coach?
Yeah, I've a pretty specific question, but over the last few weeks, we've heard about how the 49ers have yet to make a decision on which quarterback they're picking. And as someone who's been in these draft rooms and these draft meetings extensively over the years, how much do you believe that, even this weekend, we were hearing reports that the decision has not been made yet? How does that factor into the process? And is that really believable?
Well, let me say this. I don't believe it for this reason. The head coach, Kyle Shanahan, is an offensive genius. He knows what he wants. He knows what he's going to get. That's a little, you got to leave that out there like that to keep everybody guessing. And right now, everybody is guessing. It could be one of the guys, right? They played this about as well as you can play it. So it's going to be interesting who goes where. But at the same time, I would think at the 49ers, they know exactly what they're doing.
And Coach, of course, the news of the day, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers situation. So multiple reports coming out that Aaron Rodgers wants out. He does not want to come back to Green Bay. The first report that we saw was that the 49ers called the Packers, inquired about Aaron Rodgers. They said no chance. Maybe 30 minutes after that report came out, there was another report by Adam Schefter stating, hey, by the way, Aaron Rodgers wants out of Green Bay. Just want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I think where there's smoke, right? I think Aaron definitely has made it known that he wants out. Sounds like there might be some contractual issues going on there. I guarantee if he was under contract, this would be a no conversation, but he's not. And so he has a chance to end his career back towards home. You're talking about San Francisco. I think the Raiders are another team. I think there was another team, Denver, I think was
Denver, yeah.
mentioned. So he has a chance to get back closer towards home. And I think a player understands that at some point in time, you've worn out your welcome somewhere. And you have a chance to try to make it happen, as we've seen some other players try to do. That's exactly what he's trying to do. So I get it because, like you say, the Packers said no. He said yes. So
Yeah.
there's going to be a little infighting there. He's trying to get out.
Well, and Coach, ultimately, what do you think happens with the situation? Do you think we see a trade tonight? Because, I mean, if there was going to be one, you would think it would be here pretty soon, the next probably 15 to 20 minutes.
Absolutely. I think we're going to know fairly quickly how this is going to unfold. It's going to come down. I would not be surprised if he is traded. You drafted a quarterback a year ago that you said was going to be the heir apparent. He probably is not ready, but at the same time, you can get something for a very talented player. So if we're going to get what we want to move forward, then we might need to do it.
Well, let me kind of put you on the spot, Coach. Gut feeling, do you think that Aaron Rodgers will be traded tonight?
I think there's a very good chance Aaron Rodgers will be traded.
Wow.
Oh.
That's bold.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, that's a bold prediction. So, Alex, did you have anything specific for Coach?
Yeah, so I think we hear a lot of different stories about different teams when they get ready for the draft, and some executives say they know pretty much exactly how the draft's going to play out, and some say they have no clue. From at least your experience, did you guys really know how the draft was going to unfold, or were you guys kind of in the dark too?
Well, I think there's a combination of both. I think every staff plays a mock draft, the day or two before the draft. And so you try to get a really good feel about what groups of players could be there when you draft. What other people what's been said, what are the needs, what are you hearing, what are the mock drafts saying, and then you try to come to a consensus on where you think a team's going. So you have a pretty good idea of who's going to be there. You might be off a player or two. It's going to happen from time to time, but you have a pretty good idea. And then all of a sudden, somebody throws one of those zingers in there, right? Somebody snapped it early in the first round. You go, where did that come from? And so then it gets a little wild. But other than that, I think everybody has a pretty good feel what they're trying to accomplish.
And we got Justin Garcia chiming in, number 3, and Bosa for Rodgers. No, you got to give up some more.
Whoa,
that's not going to happen.
I wouldn't give up Bosa. I would not give up Bosa.
And we do have a question for you, Coach, from Jaime Lopez Jr. Hi, Coach. Who do you think the Bengals are looking to draft and why?
Coach, real quick, before you go, I know Jaime Lopez personally. He is your biggest fan, man. He loves you. He loves you, man. He does. He's a big Bengal fan, actually.
Oh, that's awesome. So, I hope the Bengals can get this thing turned around. And bad as I want them to protect Joe Burrow, because I think that's the key to their team moving forward. I really believe that if Chase is there at 5, they'll take Jamar Chase, and I'll tell you why. I think when they look at their offensive team, I think they feel like they have 2 really good receivers in Boyd and the young kid, T. Higgins. But when you can add a player who probably on everybody's board is in the top 4 or 5 picks, I think it's hard to pass that guy up. He might walk on the team and be arguably the best receiver on their team with a quarterback that's thrown to him. But am I concerned? Yes, I am, because that quarterback's got to get protected.
No Raider slander allowed, Farrell.
Sorry about that one, Terrion.
It's all good. All right, Alex and Costa, thank you for coming on and having the questions for Coach. We'll catch up with you guys later, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. Have a good draft night, guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
You too. Take care.
We got Parker, Coach. I think you might have met Parker.
Parker Hall.
Parker
How
Hall.
y'all doing?
He actually works for the CFL, Coach. Did you know that?
I don't think we've met. Nice to meet you.
Awesome.
How you boys doing?
Man, we're just anticipating like everybody is. So draft anxiety exists with head coaches too, then.
Oh, yes. I mean, because at the end of the day, you work all this time and you see the potential of a player being there for you to put on your football team that you had these great dreams about, that you've you've had this thought process on how you're going to use this player as an offensive player, defensive player, or special teams player, and you can just feel it. It's going to happen. But then there's that little person that sits on your shoulder that says, well, they want him too. So they might get him. So you have to deal with that.
What you got for us, Parker?
Yeah, I mean, this can go out to all of you guys. I mean, I was saying to Fidel the other day that I think the University of Southern California is going to have the best draft when we look back at this year's draft, just from the prospects that are coming out of there. I want to know your guys' thoughts. Do you think there's a school that's going to have better prospects overall?
Wow, it's a good question, man. I mean,
and I say that as an Oregon fan too.
I mean, you look at it, and the big names that stand out are Elijah Barry Tucker, and then of course, what is it, Armon?
Amaron St. Brown. Or
I always, oh man, I always butcher his name. I'm sorry, but anyways. Just those are just some names, and then I like the safety. I don't want to butcher his name. It's Tufa. Can you say the rest, please?
Hafanga. I'm not good with the Polynesian names either, but I'm a big fan of his as well.
Man, he's a striker, man. That's crazy. That kid looks like he's out there trying to, get people out of the game, man.
For sure, solid box safety in my opinion. And then you got to look at the one I'm not even going to pronounce his name, the D lineman, and then there's Tufele, the other defensive lineman. I mean, some great talent.
SC's always had great talent, don't you think, Coach?
Oh no, they've always had great talent, but the team, I think that's going to have the most players walk off of their team into the National Football League is Alabama. Those receivers, a corner, a offensive lineman, a defensive lineman, I think they're loaded. Running back, they're going to have the most players this year. I mean, I think SC probably a close second, but I think Alabama's players and where they're going to be drafted, their draft status is a little greater than the Trojans.
But do you think those Crimson Tide players are going to be the most successful?
That's a great question. I think you're right. There's been a lot of guys who've come into the league and not played very well. And I think you have to go back and look at the history about why. They normally come into the league injured, being very honest with you, because those guys know in college, if they don't continue to play, the guy that plays behind you, he's going to take your job and you never play again. You become unheard of. So those guys play through pain and injury, and they come into the league and they're hurt, and so it takes them a couple of years. And if a team is willing to stay with them, they end up coming around and becoming really good players. So, but I do agree with you with that.
Man, you know who came to mind when you said that? D. Milliner from Alabama. He looked like everything you would want in a defensive back, and like you just said, he came in hurt, and he was hurt. I mean, even look at Mo Claiborne. He came in, he was hurt, and then he just kind of played his career too. Look at this. Zeke is actually an author here on the EastWestFootballNetwork.com. He says, "Hi, Coach. How long do you think this news, right, in parentheses, is known by the team before it's made known to the public? Is the news waiting to know because it's draft day?" Nice.
Yeah, you just said it. I think what happens every organization, the one thing they don't want is leaks. They never want to get things out. And so if they do, they want it to come a specific way in case they're trying to mislead somebody or whatever all that is. I mean, but they don't want that. So they know exactly what the news is, but they're not going to put it out. They try to make sure nothing comes out of the building. And the things that do get talked about, just go look and see who's putting it out there. It's all of the lead people that are at ESPN or somewhere. They have those relationships with people and they're able to call and, hey, you got to help me out. Don't tell me it's this guy or that guy, but give me an idea, of what it is. And that's kind of the way it works.
Wow, man. That's crazy.
And it looks like we're getting here close to the Jacksonville Jaguars being on the clock. Obviously, we kind of know who the pick is already in Trevor Lawrence.
I think probably, Coach, what people want to know is, what do you like in Trevor Lawrence, you personally? What is it that really stands out to his? I mean, because we all seen him win championships and whatnot, but what do you personally like about this prospect?
The first thing I think is he's a winner. He's won in high school. He's won in college. His physical characteristics are outstanding. He can make any throw I think you need. Obviously, he's more athletic than people give him credit for because he can run with the football. But I am concerned because of his height with his ability to run. That means more people get more shots at him, more people get more shots at his legs. And so they're going to have to teach him how to slide. I know it's a little thing that people talk about. He's going to have to know how to slide in the National Football League. But I think he's one of those prospects that people feel like you can't miss. You know, that this guy, if you take him, he's going to be a sure thing for Jacksonville for the next 10 years at quarterback. They won't have to look for a quarterback. God forbid he gets hurt. And I think he's got a chance to elevate that organization.
Awesome.
And real quick, a report just came out that Denver will not be pursuing Aaron Rodgers. So it looks like it's down to 2 teams, as we know, the Raiders and the Niners.
So, Coach, let me ask you this. Fidel and I went live on Instagram last night talking about my mock draft. And one of the good questions we had was I projected Mac Jones to go to the Patriots, and one of our viewers kind of chimed in saying, well, that doesn't fit the scheme that they're running with Cam Newton backing him up. So I did my best job to explain that, I mean, a good offensive coordinator and head coach are going to scheme around the quarterback rather than try to fit a quarterback to the scheme. Obviously, you're an offensive coordinator yourself. You could probably tell our viewers a bit more about that and what you kind of would do if you had 2 polar opposite quarterbacks.
Well, Parker, you just said it. I mean, I think the real good coaches, they play to the talent that they're given. And if you're going to play with Cam Newton, you have to play an offense that gives him a chance to show his value to the team. If you're going to play with Mac Jones, you got to give him a chance that plays to his strength. So you're not going to be asking around zone replays, quarterback runs, or any of that. You're going to let him throw the football and hand it off and make at pinpoint accuracy throws. So there's no question. I don't think you can take 2 kind of opposite quarterbacks. You'd rather not have that. But if that's what you need to do to make sure you have quarterback on your roster and make sure that you have the right guys in the room, I don't think that's a big problem.
For sure, and that's what I explained, right? It's one thing to have Robert Griffin III back up Lamar Jackson, but if you're going to do a complete change in your franchise, you build around that quarterback.
Man, it looks like
quiet though.
And it looks like the Jacksonville Jaguars are officially on the clock.
Yeah, they are.
Expect a pick here within the next 4-5 minutes. I don't think it's going to take the whole time.
It's funny. Somebody in one of my group messages.
He already knows.
What's going on here?
We haven't heard from Walt, man. We come on, Walt.
That's what
Get
I'm
in the
saying.
conversation, man.
His thoughts. He's always the loudest one in the room.
I'm never the loudest one in the room. All right, so how's it going, Coach? How's it going?
It's going good, buddy.
Question about the quarterback position. So, as we know, the Dolphins are picking at 6. Quarterback they picked at the top 5 last season had a rough, not so much rough rookie season, but it had its highs and its highs and its lows. We heard rumors about players in the locker room not believing in Tua, that he was timid when it came to pushing the ball down the field. He doesn't want to do what it takes to win. He's kind of skittish in the pocket. How often, when you hear things like that, supposedly come from players inside of a locker room, or how often are those things true?
When you hear them, and if it comes from the right sources, it's true. Because you can't fool those guys in the locker room. You might fool the media and everybody else because they don't see everything. The players that you work with, the guys who you go to work with, you don't come to work early, they know. You leave early, they know. You're not studying, they know. And when that starts seeping out of the locker room, it's seeping out of the locker room for a reason because they don't think that this is the guy to get them over the hump. I'm talking about the players. It might not be what the coaches feel, but when it starts coming from the player level, it's a problem.
Okay, so if you're Brian Flores, and let's say, for instance, a guy like Justin Fields falls to 6. Now, we saw the Arizona Cardinals a couple years ago. They started it. You know, they said, hey, you know what? We invested this pick in Josh Rosen. This guy isn't working out. Let's wash our hands of him before things get worse. We've got a better elite prospect coming out this year. Let's go get him. If you're Brian Flores, and for him to pull Tua twice, that means that it's not just the players. it has to be something going on with the coaching too. Maybe Brian Flores sees those same things. So if you're Brian Flores, let's say for instance you may want Justin Fields, or you have a choice. Actually, you don't have a choice. You have to consider a quarterback. I think whenever you're picking this high and one of the elite guys falls right in your lap, you have to have that conversation in the war room. So do you go and push for Justin Fields, or is it more of a thing where maybe the GM says, okay, well, the players don't believe, Brian, you don't believe, but I believe, and my pocketbook believes. So
And
if you're
and
Brian Flores, what do you do?
that
I mean,
pocketbook that you matter, that's the owner's pocketbook. So
well, yeah, the owner's
yeah.
true.
Yeah, he would chime in on it, and you're right though, Walter. I mean, it is a conversation to have, but I think you said something that's key. If the guy who you guys have graded as the best in the draft falls to you, if that happens, there's no question you have to consider, because you said it. I pulled this guy twice as a rookie. I've changed offensive coordinators now. Where are we going to be? And I know they haven't had him yet again, but is he making the progress I need him to make? And that's going to be the hard thing to know, because they're not around the players right now. So you got to do what you think is best for the organization. Would I go have that conversation if I was Brian? Absolutely, I would. Would we have to really have had this conversation before we ever got to tonight? Absolutely, we would have. And we're going to do always what's best for the organization. If there's a better player that's going to make us better at whatever position that way, then we're going to take them.
Okay, because I've had, like, going back to Alabama, I had the same issues and questions about Tua. Is that, and I've said this before, you can't tell me a guy is an elite, generational, once-in-a-lifetime talent, but he's only that if he's extremely insulated.
Mm-hmm.
He needs a bunch of great wide receivers. He needs a great offensive line. He needs time. He needs this. He needs that. Oh, but he's also elite. So I never.
It don't work together. It don't work that way.
It doesn't. It doesn't. And I never understood the Tua hoopla. Never did. I mean, I liked them going back to. Me and Jerry talk about all the time about going all the way back to the Elite 11 when he competed. And he's tough. He's smart. He's very accurate. I think he's a very good leader. At least he was in Alabama. And that's one thing that gets me with a lot of people is that when they start throwing leadership around. Okay, well, Zach Wilson may have been the leader at BYU. Well, actually, we can't even say that because he wasn't voted the captain. And that's another question I'd like you to ask. How important is it that a quarterback was never named captain on his college team? Because really I've heard a lot of people say that that's sort of a red flag.
It's a red flag, because if he's not leading there, he's not going to be able to lead up here. You know what I mean? Guys who can do it, they're natural. Now, a guy don't have to be a leader to be a good player. But you better have been, like as you said earlier, the right people around him to insulate him, because there's going to be a time when he needs his voice that maybe he's not able to do it and somebody else can. So it's concerning, because that guy's the straight extension from the head coach, and he carries the message. And if he's not able to do that and do it with a bass voice to everybody else, it's hard.
True. I think a lot of times people dismiss it. But like I've mentioned it to guys at the network before, you can go back to when Connor Cook came out of Michigan State a few years ago, and everybody wanted to know. This guy played for 4 years, and he was never voted a captain. There was 2 second-string players on that Michigan State team his senior year who were voted captains over him. And we used to tell people all the time, like, people really didn't like Connor Cook. Like, classmates didn't like him, teammates didn't like him. And like I tell people consistently, in order for a quarterback to never be voted captain of his team, usually it's one of 2 reasons. Either people genuinely don't like him, or maybe he just wasn't that hard of a worker. Because you can't fool football players.
No.
You can be a great quarterback, but if you're a jerk and nobody likes you,
yes,
that type of situation fizzles out very quickly.
Mm-hmm. People follow the leaders, though, as you said, and especially if they're leading the right way and bringing the right energy all the time. And if a guy doesn't do that, then he's a little probably unmotivated as well. So it's just interesting.
Makes sense. Do you think
And
that?
let's
Hold
see.
on, we got another question.
We got another question. Justin Garcia, Coach, has there ever been a player you wanted to draft that your GM disagreed with and later apologized for?
Cool. That's
Yeah, there's been several in my career. I won't name them, but no, there's been quite a few that that I wanted, and the GM thought this would be a better, because they have, and it's really interesting. This is something that I'm sure you guys will talk about as you go through these things. GMs really have a long-term focus. Coaches don't have a long-term focus. Coaches need to win now. So coaches are trying to find a way to win, where the GM's trying to find a way to preserve the team. And I think both of those situations work. But in the locker room and with your coaches, there's only winning's the only thing they talk about. You don't have great value if you lose as a player. You don't have the great value if you lose as a coach. That becomes hard. So all we're ever interested in is winning. So there's a fine line of having the right GM to understand that, wait a minute, you can have that plan, but we got to have something that fits here, because we need to win as well.
And it looks like the pick is in, so let's listen in as Jacksonville makes its selection with the number 1 overall pick.
Good old
And then also, real quick, Walter, Trevor Lawrence might have a new tight end to throw to, also in Tim Tebow. I don't know if you guys saw the report that came out earlier today as well.
Wonderful.
So why be hesitant to become a tight end earlier career when the baseball career, and now he's 30 plus? Now he wants to come back and get hit again? Like, that makes no sense to me.
33.
Well, look at
Taysom.
Taysom Hill.
I was gonna say he's probably seen. I could probably get 16 mil. I mean, Taysom Hill's 30-something years old.
Yeah.
Coach Urban Meyer loves me.
He does love Tebow.
He does love Tebow. They've always had a very unique.
Well, they have a quarterback now, and you see his outfit.
With the first pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Trevor Lawrence.
There it is.
His family's not even cheering.
As expected.
Would have been different.
I think the biggest thing is this kid's a good player. He's going to a coach who has a college background, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Who hired some really good assistant coaches to surround this young man with. You got WSU offensive coordinator, you got Brian Schottenheimer as the quarterback coach. So you have him surrounded with a good group of people. And I think that's so important. So you have a chance to implement some of the things he did in college that made him feel comfortable, but also do some NFL type things at a pace that could get him to where he needs to be. And if he, from what I heard, he's uber intelligent. If he's able to really be the worker that everybody believes he is, he's got a chance to be successful.
Do you think, Coach, you said he's a winner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's going to rub off on the defense side of the ball too, and special teams?
This is how that will get determined. It will get determined in what he does in practice. And because he probably won't play a lot of preseason games, they only have 3 now. So in practice, if there's oohs and ahs and, man, look at this guy, you can believe it will rub off. Now, he's going to need to make that a point of entry for him with the defense. He's got to endear himself to the defense, because then those guys will be trying to get him the ball back all the time, because they'll be wanting to see him play. The great ones, the defensive players can't wait to put that quarterback back out there, because they know great things are going to happen. So that's how he can endear himself to the defense very fast, is what he does in practice.
Wow, well said. I think that if anything, that's the one thing that I feel that a lot of people have failed to acknowledge. Trevor Lawrence, and I love how you said it, Coach. I mean, it's just he's a natural leader and a winner. I think that you said it well. You said it best, and I haven't really even heard anybody say that. I just hear generational talent and whatnot.
Now, Coach, let me ask you this. I mean, a lot this week has been about Urban Meyer and being a college coach, and more of his recruiting and how that's helped his draft process. I mean, obviously you have that same background as doing your college recruiting and stuff. Did you ever find that helped you a lot? I mean, to me personally, I think it would help more in free agency than the draft. But
It helps in the draft because it teaches you when you have to recruit at a high level at the school he recruited at, because you recruit so many good players, right?
absolutely.
You have to find the thing that really turns them on, not you, turns them on. And if you can determine that, and if you know you can get to that to help the player be the best version of himself, that's what college recruiting is, right? So he has an advantage on even maybe some NFL coaches with these guys coming out of college, because that's where he was last, and he knows the questions to ask. He knows the things to look for that would help him evaluate these guys, maybe just a little bit better.
Coach, we got somebody that's lined up from the network that is actually looking forward to talking to you pretty soon as well. Um, Parker, did you want to make any predictions on the New York Jets pick? I mean, there's still some time before they turn in the pick.
So you guys, I mean, everyone but Coach probably knows that I've been high on Zach Wilson since probably, I mean, even before the season started this year. As our resident Mountain West Conference writer, I mean, I saw him first on tape and fell in love with him immediately, and he only improved throughout the year. And what he did from 2019 to 2020 only got better. So from what we've heard, that seems like the lock here. I also like Justin Fields. Who knows where he goes today? That kind of seems like it's in the air, and he's not a lock for number 3. But yeah, I got Zach Wilson going here to New York. He's kind of has that Joe Namath swagger.
He does.
So I think he'll be a good fit.
He's a rock star.
Yeah, I'm going to say just a quick comment about Trevor Lawrence. Also, I think a lot has to be said for a guy who's always been the best, always performed at a high level, and has never shied away from the moment. He's won, and that still matters. I think there's something about Trevor Lawrence, and I said this before, there's something about him that's very Andrew Luckish about this entire situation. This entire draft process, it seemed funny, like he wasn't even really part of the draft, because we rarely talked about Jacksonville or Trevor, because everyone knew this is the guy. And if you're going to ride or die, you're going to ride or die with him. I'm not going to ride or die with Zach Wilson. As much as I love Justin Fields, I would always take Trevor over the rest of these guys. I just feel Trevor is completely built for this. He's been prepared for this. And the talent says enough for himself also.
Just so you guys know, I might interrupt you, and I'm sorry, but okay, the 49ers are on the clock, and yes, the Jets did select Zach Wilson. Sorry about
49ers? 49ers?
49ers are on the clock now.
Okay.
They're officially on the clock. Yeah, but yeah, there's no doubt Jets selected Zach Wilson. But I might cut you guys off to announce the pick a little bit early. Just to get the anxiety down.
Well, now since we're waiting for the Niners to select the quarterback, let me ask everyone, who are the Niners going to pick, Jerry?
Don't ask me.
Don't ask you.
Don't ask me. Don't ask me, man. Because
I'm going to ask everyone.
Oh, okay. I'm going to pick up my heart, man. I'm going to say Justin Fields.
Coach.
Justin Fields.
Nice.
Parker Hall.
Yeah, I think Justin Fields is the right answer.
I'm going to say Mac Jones. I think Justin Fields should be the pick, but I think Mac Jones will be the pick.
That wasn't your draft, your mock draft.
Nope. Did I say did I say he was going to be the pick? I said that's what I would do.
Coach.
Yeah.
Real quick, Coach. I'm sorry. I'll let Parker ask the or say his.
I was just going to say that I think Justin Fields, like that was my mock pick. But all the reports sounds like it's Mac Jones too. So, I mean, I don't think it's the right one personally, but I mean, Shanahan's going to get the most out of his guys.
Yeah. And then, Coach, let me ask you something. So let's just say the Niners select, for example, Mac Jones or Justin Fields. They can still trade that quarterback to the Packers, right? I mean, there's still a lot of things that can happen even after they made their selection.
Oh, yes. No, there's a lot of different things that can happen after the 49ers make a selection if they don't trade right now. Again, but if you go back to the Jets and picking this young guy, his comp is somewhat like Steve Young, right? This is kind of who this guy is, a lot of people believe. And boy, he's got to, he needs to really show though his organization to get them over the hump. Just because you can roll to your left and throw to your right, it's more playing quarterback than just that. He's a tremendous talent. I hope he.
I actually heard Steve Young was actually a part of the whole process. Parker, thank you so much for coming on. We're gonna go ahead and bring on Ned now because 49ers look like they're getting close to their pick. And
Yeah,
Ned,
thanks for having me, guys. Looking forward to continuing into the 2021 season with y'all. And Coach, looking forward to getting these borders back open so I can try that great tequila. I've heard many good things.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good night.
Parker. Thanks, buddy.
Alrighty.
Now the real fun begins. Ned, how you doing?
Hey, good guys. How are y'all doing?
whew,
Great.
man, I thought the draft was never gonna start, man. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Since Monday, I was like in high alert since Monday. You know what I mean? I just
Yeah.
having a hard time sleeping. So I'm sorry if I announce the pick before you see it on the monitor, but this is a very important pick, and
Absolutely.
I have a source. I cannot say his name, but I have a source that kind of tips a little early. Unless you guys don't want, I won't give you the tip.
You guys want to hear it? I got it going on right here too. I don't know if you guys heard the first one when I had when Trevor Lawrence was selected. Up to you guys.
We all got it.
But did you guys hear it though?
We're all spoiling. Nah, I'm looking dead at it though.
Yeah, I'm tracking. Like this is the one where I think the first two, everyone kind of had the inklings. They knew what was going on, but I don't think anyone's heard anything about this.
Oh, wait a minute. We got a trade. I'm just kidding. We know.
Wow.
I'm about to say,
Man, we actually have 8 people that are live, and thank you so much for tuning in and chatting it up with us and Coach Jackson. Make sure if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button because we do this quite often.
Yeah.
And
then also don't be shy. Leave some comments. We'll read them out loud. If you have a question for Coach Jackson, go ahead and drop it.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry about that, Ned. But,
Hey, that's all right. Yeah.
So tell us real quick. If it is Mac Jones, what do you, tell us overall. Are you okay with it? You know what I mean? As a 49er fan and as somebody that evaluates the game day to day, is he going to win you a Super Bowl? That's what I want to know. Your 49ers.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing at the moment is the roster is, top to bottom, in a position that if they have a good draft, they're in win now mode. They're ready to go to a Super Bowl if everyone stays healthy. I think the plan is, regardless of all the trade talk, is to keep Jimmy Garoppolo as the starter for this year. If he gets injured, this is that insurance pick to kind of come in, step in, take the play. And, of course, moving forwards, that's going to be the guy. I think Mac Jones, for everyone having him rated low, I think that he is a better version of Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he's everything that Shanahan kind of wants in a quarterback. It's not a sexy pick, though. It's not the Justin Fields or the Trey Lance that can make the plays with the feet. It's not the crazy Aaron Rodgers style off-camber throws. This is a guy who is going to come in and he's going to make quick plays, make quick reads. And I think that as a fan, that's not. I would love Justin Fields personally. I think Justin Fields is a better overall prospect, but Mac Jones is, at the end of the day, he's just boring, but hopefully winning.
The dad bod. Come on, I have a dad bod.
I got a dad bod too. I'm
not ashamed of it, man. I'm not ashamed of it. What's up?
I don't. Hey, Ned. Is there any possible way? Is there any possible way San Francisco can butcher this pick in your eyes?
Yeah, Kyle Trask is available right now.
Oh my God! Why would you even mention that right now?
Atlas,
Look, well, there's so many ways that they can take this pick the wrong way. I think that the consensus is Justin Fields is the best prospect right now. Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence are gone. Trey Lance is also a doable option. Somebody pointed out, we traded 3 first-round picks to pick a guy who potentially only played 1 game this year, has 1 starting season, So it's a little bit unsure versus somebody like Mac Jones who's coming off, a recent national championship, recent success. there's still the option that they could take a Kyle Pitts and then double down on Jimmy Garoppolo this year. That wouldn't necessarily be wrong. I think anywhere outside quarterback, though, is not the way to go.
Man, that's a nice set of toys.
Mac Jones looks like if he's running for president.
Yeah, Pitts, Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Debo.
Yeah. They got Jalen Hurd back this year. Jawan Jennings, I imagine, is going to have a big year this year coming out. You still got Richard James to replace Kendrick Bourne's production as well. I think that outside of Kittle, the depth at tight end isn't as hot as they'd probably want to. Jordan Reed retiring, not coming back this year. It's an option. I don't think that's the case, but they really believe
Trey Lance. 49ers select Trey Lance.
Wow.
Boom.
There it is.
Like there it is. Ned, are you happy? That's what I want to know. Like, how happy are you?
I'm not unhappy. I would have loved Fields, but Trey Lance was my number 2 choice. And, I think when they mentioned that Aaron Rodgers was on the table, it was never really on the table. But, I think this is a nice consolation prize. It's not Mac Jones. So, that's already a good start.
And then, also the report that came out earlier in the week was that John Lynch wanted Trey Lance. The scouts wanted Trey Lance, but Kyle wanted Mac Jones.
I don't know that I put anything in that. I think that there's probably 2 guys who knew exactly what they were going to do. The scouts probably wanted one avenue. I think Kyle and John probably talked it out, worked out exactly what they wanted to do moving forwards, and that answer is Trey Lance. I think a lot of it came out with smokescreen because everyone wanted to know what was going on. I personally feel bad for the guy who dropped $100,000 on the Mac Jones at number 3 overall pick. He's not going to be feeling too good.
Wow,
Coach, what do you think of the pick?
What do you like about the prospect too? After
I don't like the pick.
Yeah,
personally.
I was just about to ask him that.
I'm just being honest. I mean, you have Justin Fields, who arguably was seen as 1-1 with Trevor Lawrence. Now all of a sudden you're saying that Trey Lance is a better prospect than Justin Fields. I mean, the guy stumbled. He really ran 4.3 on this pro day. He can make every throw that there is to make. And I don't think there's anybody who is as talented as Justin Fields outside of Trevor Lawrence that's playing quarterback. I just don't see it.
I think it's odd too. I think Trey Lance had a very meteoric rise for a long time up draft boards, and off of one very, very, very good season of college football, and then to sit out a year of college football, and now everyone's saying, well, he's not ready to play now, so maybe he should sit another year, or maybe he should sit 2 years. Personally, Coach, I think that's very, very damaging for any player to go 1, 2, 3 years without playing any football. You're not going to get any better holding the clipboard and watching film and with a clicker all day. I think personally, these quarterbacks don't sit. It sounds good. We hear it. We heard Carson Wentz was going to sit. Didn't happen. Goff was really supposed to sit that entire season. Didn't happen. All of these guys are supposed to sit, but when things start going bad, the young guy has to get pushed in. So I think if Frisco has a rough start to the season, you could see it happen.
Well, if I could say this, what happens if the 49ers have a great start to the season? It's 2019 all over again. What do you do?
Bad situation for you guys. You know what happens? Then you guys become the Green Bay Packers of the West.
Yeah.
Let me ask Coach. Coach, where does Mac Jones go then now?
It's going to be interesting. Because I still think the next quarterback off the board is not Justin Fields. I don't think he goes below the Detroit Lions personally. Or at the Detroit Lions. Don't be surprised. I just don't be surprised. I mean,
Coach. Coach, so we have the Falcons picking next. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but just before they get the pick do you think Justin Fields makes a lot of sense for the Falcons?
I do. I think he makes a sense for him, and I think because again, you're a new head coach with a veteran, older quarterback. You got to go get your guy. You got to go get the guy that if things start off bad, as Walter said earlier, because we're going to have to play a guy. I mean, we want to play a guy who's talented, who we feel like can take our organization to the next level.
Yeah, we'll see what they decide to do here with the pick. We've heard Kyle Pitts being mentioned with the Atlanta Falcons as well. I know teams are trying to trade up possibly with the 4th pick as well. So we'll see. We'll see what the Falcons decide to do.
Kyle
I think
Pitts.
I think it's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate if, and I should tell you right now, it's unfortunate if they do go Kyle Pitts because I think it's called draft type, and when they start naming him generational type player instead of thinking about real team foundation, team building, I think
They
that
don't need him. And I agree. Like 100. If you look at that Falcons team, well, they could potentially need him if they move on from Julio and they lose some other guys. But they have some guys that played well that season. I think offense was not their problem. And what I've been hearing for the last 2 weeks is about Pitts to Atlanta. Get Matt Ryan even more help. So what? Now you need Matt Ryan to throw for 600 yards a game? It's ridiculous. And what's funny about this situation is that Justin Fields fits exactly what Arthur Smith is going to want to do there. So I think that's another situation where, is it the GM versus the coach? Because we discussed it already. If we go back to Arthur Smith in Tennessee, Mariota was a mobile, athletic quarterback. The guy Tannehill, mobile, athletic quarterback who he had success with. So,
Fidel.
Yes, sir.
Name the pick before the pick is in for the Falcons.
You want me to tell you who it's going to be?
Yeah, tell us.
Justin Fields.
All right, Ned, what do you think?
Is that your opinion, or are you pissing people off?
I'm going with my gut.
No, okay.
Ned, who do you think?
It's weird, but I got to say someone like Kyle Pitts, man. I can't see them giving up on Matt Ryan just yet with the cap hit they got. I don't see Justin Fields sitting behind a guy they're paying $38 million to. So I think they're going to go weapons. I think they're going to double down.
Walt, what do you think? The actual pick, not what they should pick.
The actual pick, okay.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be Kyle Pitts. I think they're going to go all in with Matt Ryan, and
as they should.
I guess. I'm just listening, man. A lot of people think I'm anti-old quarterback. I'm not anti-old quarterback. I'm anti-holding on to old quarterbacks too damn long.
Well, and Walt, here's the problem too. So Arthur Smith coming from Tennessee, we saw what that offense was. Ryan Tannehill was mobile when he needed to be. Matt Ryan he's not mobile. He's not going to be able to run.
Also, who's going to run the ball there?
You got me.
And who's going to block for him?
You got me. I don't know.
Could Sewell be the pick? Because I'm just a huge Penei Sewell fan, man. I think Sewell can change a lot of offensive lines in this league.
I don't know. I don't like what he was saying though. He was saying he would play at right tackle.
Oh,
and the Falcons are selecting Kyle Pitts, so no more.
Oh, Tim Couch. Remember Couch?
Yeah.
Put some respect on Tim's name, man. Come on.
Hey, you know what though? Tim suffered from not the same type of injury, but Tim had the same type of syndrome D. Milner had coming. He beat up in high school. Milner had a ton of surgeries, I believe, in high school. Couch was beat up in high school, and it was reported that he wouldn't. Doctors said that even once he got to college at Kentucky, who made him throw 500 times as a freshman, that he wouldn't play that long once he got to the league. So
that's crazy.
So Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts it is.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go. Okay. All right.
All right, Coach. You don't look too happy.
I don't.
What do you think?
I mean, I love the talent, but the guy was 239 pounds. He's got to put his hand in the ground and play tight end. You got these
Coach,
defensive ends.
Yeah, and me and Jerry actually had this conversation a couple days ago. Is right now he was drafted as a tight end, but doesn't mean he can't move to wide receiver. So then if you trade Julio Jones after June 1st,
yeah,
that might be something that might be looking.
This guy can't go play. He can't go play wide receiver.
You don't think so?
He's not.
No, I think he's a specialist in third down. You split him out and do those things and mix him out every now and then, move him around. But I don't think you make him a full-time wide receiver. But the way he probably is going to block, they might need to make him a full-time wide receiver. I think that's going to be an issue for him. I don't think people understand. I mean, everybody's trying to find the next the young man who's at
49ers, Kittle.
Kansas City, Kittle,
Kelsey.
but Kittle,
Kelsey.
yeah, I mean Kittle played with his hand down in the ground
Yeah.
at Iowa. They ran zone plays. He learned how to block. That's why I thought he was one of the best tight ends coming out. These guys never had to block. Their head hurts when they go against those defensive ends. It hurts because they're not used to getting beat up in the face like that. It's gonna be different.
I'm a big Pitts fan, but I just feel he's a luxury.
Mm-hmm.
And if I really wanted to upgrade the tight end position, let's take a look at Trevor Lawrence with Jacksonville, or you can even look at Zach Wilson with the Jets. Either one of those teams could take Pat Freiermuth in the second round. And I would be happy with Pat Freiermuth, given the fact that I know Freiermuth is going to inline block. He's going to come in, he's going to stay in, he's going to block for everybody. He's going to help out the passing game as well as the offensive, the run game. Now, he may not be the dynamic downfield player that Kyle Pitts is, but do I really need a tight end that runs a 4-4 or is built like a wide receiver? I just think he's a luxury. And he was a bad pick for Atlanta.
Yeah, I think they maybe were thinking trade down, somebody coming up for Justin Fields that ran out of time, and they just took best available here.
Yeah. I think
I was about to ask you, Ned. I was about to ask you, what do you think overall of the pick?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that I think, as far as like talent to the number wise, it matches up. Like Kyle Pitts is a phenomenal talent, but again, they're looking for a Travis Kelce, they're looking for a George Kittle, and as Coach put it, like we've been saying this all year, it's painful watching him block. Like he is a guy who can go out and run routes, but he's got a really sharp curve to come up against guys like Nick Bosa. He's going to come up against these premier outside rushers, and he's not going to be able to stay in line. So, this feels like a massive overreach. I like Walt that you mentioned, Pat Freiermuth was going to be there in the second round. He's bigger.
Yeah.
He's still a red zone threat. He's a guy who can get you first downs on third down. Why not take a guy at a position of need where you really need it? And I think part of the problem is that, as we've kind of talked about all season long, all these edge rushers, the positions of need for Atlanta, no one guy is stellar. It's no Chase Young. There's no Nick Bosa in this draft. So they kind of felt like they were just going to take what was there if they didn't trade down. The fact that Justin Fields is available at 5, if we'd said that at the start of last season, we would have been shocked. But, here we are, and Hue Jackson touched on it. It's like the fact that everyone's kind of talked themselves out of this guy is kind of insane to me at this point.
Well, why do you guys think so many of the great tight ends historically came in later rounds? Because my theory is that, at least when I played in high school, my high school coach always told us that the tight end had to earn catches. The tight end's responsibility was to block, break his nose, break some fingers. Then he gets catches. You better block. If you're a tight end, you better block in the offense. A lot of these tight ends nowadays, they're hybrids. They're not asked to put their hand in the dirt. They're not asked to get the uniform dirty. They're glorified wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think guys like Kittle and Kelce had huge chips on their shoulders too. Because if you look at the tight end position in college football, the offenses in college aren't really geared towards showcasing tight ends and their talent. And I think that's another big reason why tight ends, a lot of these guys are first-round talents, but they wind up going third round, fourth round, fifth round.
I tell you something, the Dallas Cowboy fans they're torn on this one. They're a little bit happy.
Hot dig it. There's no pits on the board. Hot dig it.
They're kind of happy, right? They're kind of happy
get that Devontae Smith on phone.
Well, I'm just saying they don't have that. Well, look, I like CeeDee Lamb. Overall, I like him as a player. I think whatever team would get CeeDee Lamb, they're going to get a stud. But I think when it's easy to see that at this situation, the team you need to make sure that you fix certain things, and it's hard, right? Because I did a mock draft, which I'm not really a big mocker, as far as mock drafter, but I was looking at it, and it was kind of like how we were breaking down each team. We look at how the offense would did total percentage wise. If they're ranked 28th, then you can zero in. even though they're ranked 28th in total offense, then where were they struggling? And you would see rushing, they were like 15th, and passing, they were like dead last. So that's how they got the 28 total.
Mhm.
And so, when you look at both, or when I look at it, and I would think, maybe people that actually take advantage of team building, they would look at, okay, where did our team do good, where did it struggle, and then look at the needs and whatnot. So I don't understand it. Like the Bengals right now, they're selecting Jamar Chase. It's official.
Wow.
There it is.
It's official.
Expected.
You know what that means?
Gotti number.
My Lions can't screw this up.
Watch the world.
You know why?
Why?
There's no Chase on the board. There's no Pitts on the board, so the Lions can't screw this up.
Well, that's true. But I bet you wouldn't have liked the Pitts pick at all.
No, I would. Well,
look, you said that the last
he's
couple
an elite talent. If the Lions would have taken Pitts, I could have figured out what they were doing. Just like if they take Penei Sewell, I can figure out what they're doing. It's a hell of an offense if you could throw Pitts in with Hawkinson, with DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams out of the backfield. And that offensive line in Detroit has been pretty solid. It's been one of the best bright spots over the last couple seasons. That's why I'm so huge on taking Penei Sewell if he's there. You plug Sewell into that offensive line, you protect Jared Goff, you get the running game going with DeAndre Swift, and if Goff isn't that guy, the next guy you got coming in next year, hey, he's already got one of the best offensive lines in the league, and he's got a run game. You have to be smart with this. I'm just glad the Falcons took some of the pressure off the Lions. So, I'm good.
Did you ever believe in your right? Did you ever think, going back to Trey Lance, because that was a question I wanted to ask you, but I got so excited with announcing the pick. Did you ever think for a moment that Aaron Rodgers could have been a 49er?
Nah, I think when you look into and somebody I was reading an article earlier made a good point. Once they traded up to the third overall pick, we've got no first rounder until 2024. They lost a lot of the potential ammunition that they could have sent Green Bay's way. Green Bay didn't want the third overall pick. I don't think they wanted to sacrifice a lot of their roster to bring Aaron Rodgers in and put him with a piece together team like he's had in Green Bay for a few years now. So I think the same with the Deshaun Watson trade rumors, the Kirk Cousins rumors, you name a starting quarterback that's potentially on the trade block this year to the 49ers. I think that they were always focused on best available. Those guys weren't available, so they went and picked Trey Lance as apparently their guy. So we'll find out what that looks like. And I know, Walt, you kind of mentioned this earlier. He's only played one game since 2019. If he sits this entire season, I think for the new age quarterbacks, that's kind of weird and different. But I think when they were talking about Garoppolo not getting traded, Kyle Shanahan runs a fairly complex system. He runs a system where guys as rookies don't kind of come in and start game one. So I think that they want to maintain some kind of status quo this year and really get Lance comfortable in the system, especially guys green as he is. And I hope that pick pans out. If it doesn't, then it's a real bad time for 49ers fans.
Coach.
Yes.
Taking it. Coach, real quick, how do you think this would be a little bit frustrating to see how Joe Burrow was able to get the LSU band back together, so to say? I mean, Thaddeus Moss. Now you got Jamar Chase as they're announcing the pick, and then Joe Burrow. Do you think it would be hard to coach this Bengals team, especially let's say as an OC or a head coach? Because I mean, they had so much success at LSU. Do you think that it would be hard for an OC or a head coach to actually coach these guys up if they are so used to a certain tendency or know each other because of the reps they had?
Right. No, I still think these guys still have to learn to play the NFL game. So I don't think it'd be hard. I think, again, it's like anything. If a player thinks that you're not knowledgeable and you can put them in a position to have success, then that becomes a problem, right? I mean, I think that's a problem on any team. But at the same time, I think they just gave him another weapon. He arguably becomes the best receiver on their team. The quarterback's happy that way. But if I'm Joe Burrow, I'm now going down there and saying, what are we going to do to fix the line? Because I need to get that squared away fast.
I think somebody brought up a good point, Coach. Just to add, they said it like this: it's you'd probably would be able to find an offensive lineman in the second round since you're picking so high, as opposed being able to find an actual wide receiver in the second round with Jamar Chase's abilities. So I think you're absolutely right, though. I don't like that scar. I'm pretty sure you saw the scar, right, when they unveiled the new unis. By the way, what do you think about those new unis, Coach? Did you ever see
Hey, they're hot. You know, you got Chad Johnson. He was showing them off as well. So they look good on him. So they look good in their new uniform.
Did you ever think, like, why did they do this when I was
Absolutely.
here? You know?
Absolutely. No, I just,
Coach, quick question, Coach. So obviously, you know, they just drafted Jamar Chase, the Cincinnati Bengals, going into next year. Expectations are going to be for this team to compete. If they don't, do you see Zach Taylor coming back as head coach?
No.
Ooh.
Well, there we have it.
Coach, you I mean, you live there in Ohio, right? So
Yeah, I can. I kind of know the feeling. What's going on there?
The Dolphins are selecting Jalen Waddle.
Listen, I had a question about the Bengals. Okay, so has everyone just forgotten about Joe Mixon? Like every time people discuss helping out a quarterback, is always wide receiver. There's more ways to help out a quarterback other than sexy toys on the perimeter. This is why I said either Penei Sewell or Rashawn Slater would have made more sense at this pick. You want to protect Burrow? Give him a great offensive lineman and give him somebody that can open holes for Joe Mixon. Because we discussed this before. A healthy Joe Mixon helps out Joe Burrow a hell of a lot. More to me than just Jamar Chase. But, hey, Burrow threw the ball 62 times in the game last season and didn't turn the ball over. So is it really required for him to have a super talented guy at wide receiver? I think there's guys they could have gotten in the second round who are very talented that they could have put with Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow could have made it work with some of those guys too. Wide receiver this high, unless you're talking a Calvin Johnson or Julio Jones, I can't get with it. And the Anquan Boldin
are you saying that about Chase or Waddle? Because Waddle is the Dolphin. Waddle is now the newest Dolphin.
No, but we started out discussing.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, you just tuned me out, Jerry.
Yeah, I'm just in shock. Why would the Dolphins do this? You know what I mean? Devontae Smith he's gonna freaking break your heart, just like Justin Jefferson. AJ Brown.
No, I'm looking at the comparison they had up there for Jalen Waddle.
That's funny. Well, I'm just saying, look at Justin Jefferson and look at the Eagles, man. The front office is like, holy smokes, man. Why do we pick Jalen Reagor? Ned, what do you think, man? I mean, Waddle to the Dolphins, do you think Devontae would have done better?
It's hard to say. I think that Devontae is a huge playmaker. I think Jalen Waddle's a huge playmaker. Devontae got to shine because Jalen Waddle got off injured. I think that in the context of everything the Dolphins kind of heisted for the third overall pick, that this is a fine selection for them. They know talent where they need it is going to be available, not just this year, but in the years to come. I think what they really want to do is make Tua as comfortable as possible, really give him every opportunity to shine. And Jalen Waddle's a guy that he's familiar with. Jalen Waddle's a superstar and a playmaker. It'd be interesting to see if that kind of translates to the NFL, see how he comes back.
And also, I think Jalen Waddle said he would rather, or it might have been, I might be getting my Alabama receivers mixed up, but that they prefer to play with Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm.
That was Devontae Smith.
It was Devontae.
Yeah, it was Devontae. I did hear that.
And Waddle. I thought they did.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right, Coach. So we'll see what Tua does with this Miami Dolphins team next year.
Well, look, I'll say this: Jalen Waddle and Devontae, they make the most with every catch you see them. They made it count. They really did. So you're talking about a unique group. It's hard when you stack them up with Henry Ruggs and Jerry Judy. You
Yeah.
can't say they're better, and you can't say they're not better. So it's like uh, uh, Crimson Tide really has the talent right now.
Mhm.
You know what I've noticed though about those Bama receivers, and I think is a big issue that a lot of them are having when it comes to the league, well, outside of Julio and maybe Amari Cooper, who was an elite route runner, but they're not used to the field shrinking on them. Like those Alabama receivers are just used to having so much talent, offensive line, quarterback wise, scheme wise, with Nick Saban. Everything is just so wide open for those guys. The field shrinks when you get to the NFL, and you don't get all of that same space that you got in the SEC or you got in the Big Ten or the Pac-12 or whatever. So I think that's a big issue, especially I noticed with tiny wide receivers. They tend to have real big issues with things being shrunk, the field being shrunk on them. And I think that's a big reason why I think a lot of NFL teams still do prefer big wide receivers.
Yeah.
I will say this: I'm happy for Waddle, though. I am very happy for Waddle.
Mhm.
Let me ask you, Walter, since you're a Lion, you are a Lion. Not only a part of, I'm saying, as far as the leader, one of the leaders on the East West, right? Lion Leos. So, if this is Devontae Smith, are you okay with this pick?
Uh, it's a necessity, but no. No, I mean, I wasn't happy. I told you before I wouldn't be happy with wide receiver at the spot, period. I would rather see them trade back before they take a wide receiver. And Devontae Smith is one of my favorite receivers in the draft. I just think receiver is a luxury. And when you're going through a rebuild, you don't make your very first pick a wide receiver.
That's true.
I honestly think Fields is the pick. I could be wrong. I just think, and I've mentioned it before, I'm hard pressed to believe a first-time GM and a first-time head coach are going to pass on a quarterback of his talent that falls right in their lap.
Yeah.
Just wouldn't
Picks
make sense.
in, Jerry. Who is it?
No. It's crazy because look at the NFL comparison that ESPN's giving Waddle. It's exactly what I had said.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill. I had
I
said it
just,
on our podcast.
I just think it's wild. The Heisman Trophy winner hasn't been drafted as a receiver.
Yeah, it's true. Very true.
How scary is 166 pounds, Coach?
Ain't scary to me. He can play. Yeah, that dude can play, boy. I'll find a way to make sure you don't try not to get too much.
Let me ask you, Coach, is it true that Chad Johnson weighed that at that? Because he said
About
it,
171, 172. Yeah.
Wow.
When he first came in the league.
But after McDonald's, the Big Macs and all that good stuff that he likes to eat.
He got up to 185, 190.
He ain't 185, 190 no more.
Your Detroit Lions like Penny Sewell.
Huh?
Ooh.
Your Lions select Penny Sewell.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that makes sense. But there was a quarterback on the board. But you know what?
It's crazy.
There are quarterbacks on the board in a few months.
Justin Fields and Mac Jones, Coach. You saw the Panthers. Matt Rule, definitely. I thought he was a real wild card, but I mean, it looks like he's building this team through the trenches. Do you think that Justin Fields he's looking at it like, you know what? I got Sam Darnold, but I got him for pennies on the dollar.
You just said it. I mean, you have to. I mean, he is the best player on the board right now. And it's hard to find these quarterbacks. And you got to take swings at these guys. And if I'm Detroit, I was surprised. I thought he would go there because I think Jared Goff. I think he's a good player, but I don't know if he's a long-term solution for them. You got a chance to get a very young, talented player, and you pass on him.
And just so you know, Lions actually did not take the trade offers that were offered to them for that pick right now.
Yeah, I mean, some people wanted to come up and get Fields.
It's just Fields. Yep.
So now we got the Carolina Panthers coming up next. Coach, obviously they traded for Sam Darnold at the quarterback. They traded Teddy Bridgewater yesterday to the Denver Broncos. What do you think they do with this pick?
I think the question Jerry asked, I think I know there's a discussion about Justin Fields. They have a chance to get better defensively, and they have a chance. Then that's what they really need. And let's just be honest. They got to get better on defense. They can take a corner. There could be a great opportunity for them to take a big time corner. But at the same time, that quarterback is sitting there, and you're not sure where Sam is. Well, you'd be hard to pass on this guy.
But you did say last year they were taking a chance on Russell Okung. Also, I remember during the year that they're taking a chance on Russell Okung. He's already an aging offensive lineman. It didn't work. I mean, you got to go back to the drawing board. Don't you think offensive line maybe for them? Also, consider it. Rashawn Slater.
I think those so basically what you're saying in the trenches, that's where they need to improve on both sides of the ball. But I'm that quarterback position. I'm keep saying it because you got to have the right guy there.
True.
Whew.
But building your team, do you think that building the team is more important through the trenches first and then quarterback?
I love that thought, Jerry. Unless the quarterback, when the draft gets to me, and if the quarterback is there that I want, he's most talented board. You got to take him.
Let's get him. So I love you, Coach.
You know what though? Fields could be on his way to Denver for Elway.
Oh,
That's what it's gonna. Yeah, probably right.
I think we said this before.
Is your trade up here right now?
No, I haven't got nothing yet.
Okay.
I haven't got nothing yet. But the pick is in, so I don't know why my guy takes so long.
Take a look.
Gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I just like I said, Sewell's been the guy for me for a long time, and I said it unless Fields was on the board. Fields was the only guy I would have passed on Sewell for. I wouldn't have passed on him for Mac Jones or Trey Lance. So, I mean, I agree with Coach 100%. I mean, I'm with building through the trenches, but that guy under center trumps everything else.
Yep.
Has to.
Now, who is that over there in the chair with the compression sleeves on his legs?
It's
fan,
because
right?
last year, Commissioner Roger Goodell, that's his chair that he had in his basement. So they wanted to incorporate it.
His alleged basement.
His alleged basement, yeah.
It looks like a pretty fancy basement to me.
No, because it's funny because when somebody leaked his actual address, they leaked his address and they were outside like giving him like all kinds of nonsense. It was crazy. But yeah, that was a chair in his basement from last year's draft, and they wanted to incorporate it in this year's draft. So it's just fans that are sitting in his chair from his basement. It was a part of the show. That's marketing 101, I think. I mean, that's how you stay relevant.
Forget all that. My boy coming to Detroit.
That's
you like to pick them, Walter.
Yeah, that's who you wanted all along. That's who you wanted all along.
Yeah, I mean, he makes everything so much better.
Look, I'm from Texas, Coach. You know I'm from Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to know who I want the Cowboys pick? Yes, no, you can ask me and I'll tell you.
He just skipped over other teams.
Who you
I
want?
went straight to the. He just said, "Screw the Panthers
and the Broncos."
Screw discussing the Lions pick. Let's jump.
Oh my gosh! Oh my God!
I'm kidding. No,
I can't do this. I can't look at
Hey, but
this.
you know what though? We did hear the Chargers were very interested in trading up to get Sewell. So
yeah, well, it's because Sewell wanted to play with Justin Herbert.
And supposedly Herbert wanted him to.
Yeah, Justin wanted him there.
But that's only because he didn't have a Jamar Chase on his Oregon team. Quarterbacks always want the wide receiver, man.
Oh yeah. You better know that.
Look at this.
Until their legs hurt. When their legs hurt, I think that changes.
Well,
Until they get a boo-boo.
The Lions were looking for players that like to bite kneecaps, right? So maybe Penei Sewell knows how to bite them.
They still coming with the kneecaps.
Well, hold on, because
the memes have started already. It said that Joe Burrow's only gonna last 2 games after they
I believe it. Hey, Coach. they better watch out. He might have matching scars that don't protect him.
Now, I will say this. They did bring back a coach who I think is really good as an offensive line coach, and I think he'll do a tremendous job. But I do know this: a coach is a much better coach when he has talent. You can coach as hard as you want to, but that Joe is not good. Your ex is not good. That over there, it's not going to matter. So,
Ned, who would be some prospects that you can maybe foresee coming around in the second round offensive line that you've seen on tape that look like they can be potential starters?
Yeah, I mean, Dickerson and Leatherwood both out of Alabama. I mean, Alabama looked really good this last year in every facet on offense. My understanding is both of those guys are kind of taking a bit of a fall. Creed Humphrey on the inside is another guy, I've been pretty high on for a while. And Sam Cosme is another guy that I know Walt and I've talked a lot about him and his potential and his talent. I think all those guys are going to be there. I'd be interested to see how far Wyatt Davis drops as well. For a long time, we're talking about him as a mid-first round kind of guy. Obviously, he has the injury. There's been some skepticism around that. Now it's all of a sudden he's maybe a second or third round pick. So I think that's huge value for whoever ends up landing him.
Let me ask you, because Brady Christensen has been getting a lot of hype lately too out of BYU. Do you believe the hype is real with Brady Christensen?
I don't think that he's a bad player. I think to draw him, all the way up to a second or third rounder when you're looking at what is probably going to be a fair slide for a lot of these really good players that we've been high on for a while. I think that's maybe a little bit of a stretch for me. I think that he's still great. I mean, I watched a lot of his tape with, Zach Wilson and everything. But I don't know that I could put him above some of these other guys, I think that if we see a run, late first, early second, I could see it happening. People get a little bit desperate, they may come up and grab him. But yeah, I think for me, he's maybe around a third rounder, mid to late third round.
Well said. I wonder who would be this year's.
The pick is in. Is it Devontae?
The Carolina?
Yeah.
It's JC
I
Horn.
think it's a corner. I think they take JC Horn.
It's JC Horn. That's why I wanted to tell you, Coach. Who do you think I want the Cowboys to pick? And it was JC Horn. But
Pat Surtain for sure.
Well, yeah, you got Surtain for sure, but I think that the Cowboys defense needs attitude, and I think the JC Horn has a ton of attitude. Not only that, but he has press coverage.
Think how the new defensive coordinator likes to play. So he comes from that Seattle system, tall DBs, long arms, length. He looks for length and corners. So those guys you just mentioned are who they would look for.
And I just think when I look at these Alabama, even though they're pretty good prospects, I mean Trevon Diggs, I like him a lot. I just think that he's a very finesse type of player. So it's just the defense needs to get tougher. I mean, I'm not gonna hate the pick, obviously, but JC Horn was that's who I really wanted.
Yeah, I mean, if you look back to all the way through the season, though, we were talking about Pat Surtain being the guy, and the big questions were maybe it's his speed. He comes out, he runs a quick 40, and it's okay, what's there not to like about this guy? And JC Horn went from mid first round to third round pick back up to the mid first round every time people talk about him.
It's true, you're right.
It's so up and down, and I mean, he didn't finish out the season as well. It's just there's a lot of question marks for Horn for me, whereas Pat Surtain is a guy that I know you can kind of bring him in and he's ready to go. I don't have a lot of questions for him other than, how much of the rest of the Bama defense was helping him. But, yeah, I don't know that JC Horn was the guy I would have taken over him. What do we got?
They took JC Horn. It makes sense.
It doesn't really make sense. I thought he would continue building at least to the trenches, but really strongly consider Justin Fields. But I mean, this is his team, and
they did just trade for a quarterback, so I mean, they didn't necessarily have to go. That secondary, aside from Chin, they made some additions on the defense. You got Burns, you got Derek Brown on the defensive line. They could have went linebacker, could have, but they really needed a corner. And, you look at Horn, I understand everything people say about Surtain. I had Surtain as the number one corner for a long time, but corners are born. Corners have been covering people in the street playing, pick them up, mess them up, everything since they were 5, 6, 7 years old. When you watch Horn looks like the prototypical man-to-man corner. Very physical, long arms, good top-end speed. He's good in and out of his breaks. He's very competitive, and he wants to fight you for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, that's typically what you want a man corner to be. Now, Surtain is better, I think, technique-wise. He may be a little bit smarter, but can't really necessarily say that because Horn is a corner who was taught how to play corner from a wide receiver.
Mhm.
So I think a lot of these things really matter. I think Horn may not be everyone's preference because they say he grabs too much. He's a little grabby, but I think at the end of the day, when people looked at what they need you to be able to do as a corner, a lot of teams want to run a lot of single high safety. They want to man up and they want to get after the quarterback. You need guys out there on the island who can do that.
I think for me though, Walt, I mean, there's a difference between aggression and, playing with a bit of swag. We saw Josh Norman, guys like Richard Sherman, they play with swagger, they're confident, they know what they're doing. But then you get guys that get grabby, they get aggressive, they make mistakes. And in the NFL, it's going to get called a lot more than it is in college.
And real quick, guys, so Packers source says the front office has decided to call Aaron's bluff. No trade will be made.
Yep.
Until they start 0-4.
Until he doesn't play.
Well,
Until he doesn't show up,
Aaron Rodgers is not going to play.
He's not.
On a quick
look, you'll be content hosting Jeopardy for the rest of his life.
Right. Aaron's not a flake. I don't think they're going to call his bluff.
On a quick note here, how convenient for the Denver Broncos that not only did they get Teddy B, but Justin Fields is on the clock at number 9 and they didn't have to make a move.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hope the Broncos don't select him.
Yeah, but then then you got
you'd be the only one in the division without a quarterback.
Hey man, come on, put some respect on DC's name.
I've seen Patrick Surtain being mocked to the Broncos as well too.
Yeah, but
they got Kyle Fuller too, right?
I know, Kyle Fuller and I think they got Kyle Fuller and didn't they get Ronald Darby too?
Darby, yeah.
So
Darby's a little bit over the hill. I think he's seen his best days, but I mean, I think that unless they are all in on Drew Lock, which they haven't demonstrated that in any way, shape, or form, I think that you have to take Fields here. Like, I don't think they expected this to happen, but he's sitting there right now. You'd be a fool not to.
All right, well, let's just say, or Jerry, the pick's in.
No, yeah. SK, welcome to the show.
Hey, good evening and good night, gentlemen.
Good evening from the West Coast.
Yeah, I think for the Cowboys, it's gonna be a good night for me. If depends.
So what's the pick for the Broncos?
Well, Walter, let's take a step closer. Let's just say Justin Fields isn't the pick here.
Ooh.
How far does he slide down?
Well, let me see.
12.
Watch the Dallas Cowboys draft him.
Oh wow!
Jerry did say he'll do something unconventional.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so let's say Denver doesn't take him at 9. Dallas won't at 10. Giants won't at 11, or will they? Dallas won't. I think the Eagles.
Yeah, that's an
Oh man, poor Jalen Hurts.
I don't think he falls past Minnesota. I think Minnesota.
Over the last
few
to watch
days,
for.
We've been hearing a lot about Minnesota could possibly take a quarterback if one falls.
What do you think so far, SK, of how the draft has been laying out so far?
It's pretty much laid out somewhat that I thought outside of this recent pick of Horn. I thought it would definitely be help for Darnold, make sure that he's really the quarterback for the future since his contract is running out. That's really the biggest surprise that I had. Thought Sewell possibly could go to the Bengals, but I understand why pairing that receiver with that quarterback. Hopefully you can get some of that magic back from college. I understand that, but just that J.C. Horn pick, and they picked a lot defense heavy last year as well, so I definitely thought they would have went offense this year. So that's the only thing that's really just kind of threw me for a loop so far.
What about you, Coach? So far with these picks, these players, these prospects, what are you thinking about the draft so far?
I got a bunch of loops.
I know Fields. I mean Fields. I think it's a consensus. All of us are
Well,
sold on Fields
no,
being the
I
guy.
think
But
the fact that Pitts went where he went, I think where Trey Lance went. I mean, I'm just being honest. Based on what I see, and um, everybody else so far pretty good. I just it's going to be interesting. I mean, how the rest of this draft go, and like you said, where Justin goes.
They just zoomed in on Mac Jones, and he's got 2 cell phones, and he keeps on looking at the screen, maybe expecting a phone call.
Maybe.
well, I did hear that Drew Lock has been rumored to be
Traded.
involved in
Yeah.
trade to the Vikings, which
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense, right? I mean, they probably thought, well, the 49ers are going to draft another Jimmy G. Why don't we draft another Kirk Cousins, or trade for another Kirk Cousins?
The pick
Now he's
is
more
in.
talented than Kirk. Well, at least he got a better arm than Kirk.
What do we got for them?
I don't know.
Mac Jones.
It's got to be Fields, right?
Yeah, it's got to be. But at this point, we're now starting to get into Patriots trading up territory.
It's Patrick Surtain.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna take the corner.
That's what I told you. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Okay.
I understand it, but don't love it.
Okay, so I guess now this means there's a possibility that Fields and Jones could both fall to New England.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tell you what, Chicago's looking happy.
And New England didn't have to trade up to get a quarterback.
Yep, that's the most important thing. I guess the story now, Coach,
Yeah,
would be what are the
I mean,
Cowboys
honestly,
do?
like barring the trade, Fields could easily fall all the way to Washington at 21. I mean, not 21, at 19, honestly. Barring the trade.
What team do you think would try to?
Your Raiders would possibly be interested in Justin Fields, would they?
Oh, come on.
Don't
You got
get us.
DC over there, huh?
Don't get me and SK started, man.
Don't get us started. This is about the draft.
This is the draft, man. Y'all can have Justin Fields over there, man.
Does he play defensive back? Does he play defensive back? Defensive tackle? Offensive line?
I understand the defense is an issue, but I also feel the QB position could be upgraded.
SK, but they have to. The quarterback's not the biggest issue on that team, though, and me and you know that.
I do know that. That's why I said I don't have a problem going defense.
How married are y'all to Derek Carr, though?
But look,
Derek Carr can bowl.
Yeah, he can ball, and John is not. He wants to. He needs to win now. Not wants to. He needs to.
No, he definitely needs
Year
to
4
with that size contract.
We got to make something happen, man. Come on.
And Fidel, so what do you think of they took Micah Parsons?
I would love that.
Yeah.
Linebacker's an issue for the Raiders. It's been his name for a while.
So would you rather get linebacker or would you rather go corner?
Linebacker.
I think linebacker.
I'm just
two guys off the board.
Parsons is a true Raiders. I think that guy is when I looked at him, I was like, this guy's a Raider, man, for life.
Yeah. I actually like JC.
Since the cornerbacks are gone, do you just feel like Dallas go ahead and shore up that defense and get Michael Parsons?
They're taking receiver.
I think it's
the receiver.
They'll get Devonta Smith. Watch him.
Where's he going to play at?
If they don't get no trade offers, I think that if they don't get a trade offer, I think they would probably go either Parsons or Slater.
Yeah.
Where's Vic at? They don't even show the head coach. Oh, there's Vic. I see him.
They'll probably go Slater.
Yeah. Slater makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think they just go Slater just because they saw how that offensive line was depleted. But we'll find out right now in a few.
Well, Coach, just want to say thank you for joining us, and
Coach,
it's been great talking to you. And I hope we'll catch up here soon.
Absolutely, thanks, guys. And it's going to be a great
congratulations,
night.
Coach.
Somebody, please get Justin Fields drafted, guys. Come on.
All right, Coach. Thank you. We'll talk soon.
Thank
the
you,
Raider Nation will welcome him with open arms.
You will, not me.
Well, gentlemen,
You
I
know,
mean, we said 10 picks, and this is the 10th pick, so we'll see what happens here.
Mhm.
Christian Barmore.
Who do you want, Jerry?
I mean, at this point, I mean, I've always been a big Caleb Farley guy. But man, from what I was hearing was there was 2 back surgeries, and that he couldn't feel his toes. I think
Yeah.
that scares me, man. But I do like
I
Greg
like the way.
Newsome. Go ahead, SK.
I was gonna say I like the way you're going leaning towards with the offensive line for Dallas, especially with Dak coming back from injury. You got the highest paid player quarterback in the league. You got to make sure that investment is upright and nobody touches him.
Yeah.
Are,
Well,
are you guys surprised that we haven't seen a trade yet?
I'm surprised.
Nah.
People
I
really,
felt if the quarterbacks would slide, we would see one. But the way that it's playing out, I'm not surprised by the way how it's playing out that we haven't seen a trade. But I did think we was going to see one coming into tonight.
somebody just said look for a trade. So with the
Yeah,
Cowboys.
I could see it
But
happening.
what play are you coming up to get?
Just Fields.
No. Yeah, I think it's for just it's to keep Justin Fields from I guess the Eagles because Eagles is
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It's either them or the Giants. Probably going to trade back to the Pats or the Bears, Washington. One of those guys are going to come up and grab him.
So it says here we go, a trade. The Cowboys are trading with the Eagles. Wow, this is crazy. I mean, this is and it's
Okay. So who do the Eagles get?
You already know.
Justin Fields.
Mhm.
Man, I don't want to see Fields in that dog fire.
Right.
Me neither, man.
Man,
They
no
just-
weapons,
that's a mess
no,
right
no
now.
line, no cap space.
That's like the worst
I don't
situation.
either.
Oh,
I feel like he needs to be in a position to
first
for
time
any
head
quarterback.
coach.
Dude, I've never seen a
I don't
divisional.
like it at all.
I've never seen a
Oh,
divisional
man.
trade, man. Like this is crazy. This is like working with the enemy.
I hope this
You guys
hopefully
gonna
it's
win.
Mac Jones.
Like, what the heck? Are you really giving? Are you really giving?
Jerry, what was the trade? What they trade for? Details.
That hasn't been
No.
detail hasn't been sent to me yet.
Apparently, it's a lot.
You think it's a lot?
Yeah, I mean.
So where
what
do
I've
they
heard
move
is-
from?
I
10. They was 12, right?
No, they trade 12th and 84th pick.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
rough,
a,
man.
Just to move
a
up
third,
two
a third
spots.
runner.
It was not for
A third-
Devontae Smith
It's probably for Devontae now that
I don't
you look
think-
at it.
Yeah.
to keep him
It
away
has
from
to.
the Giants,
So
unless
the-
they
because
thought
it-
the Giants were going to.
Yep.
The Eagles.
Yep.
Well, now things are getting interested. Look, there's no one there in Dallas. Who's
Yeah.
there? That's funny.
Well, I
think
mean,
it's just-
it just makes sense. I mean, if the Eagles are, I mean, you're jumping ahead. I mean,
The Giants.
you're going to jump ahead of the Giants.
But the Cowboys still feel they can get who they. The Cowboys still feel they can get who they want at 12.
Yes,
either way.
Isaac, you're
So we'll take
absolutely
extra
right.
pick.
No, they don't. The Bears will stay right where they at.
All right, Pace, Nagy, it's time to correct your wrongs from past drafts. Hey, look, Jerry, no, that's mad. Panthers took the quarterback that we wanted. No, that's sports.
Oh, I know, man. I was
He's
telling him.
upset.
Yeah, I was upset too, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, going in and still to right now, I still like Caleb Farley over J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain. His confidence,
That's
his
my guy.
smoothness,
Oh, you
his
like him?
hipness.
You think he was number one? Ooh.
Yeah, Caleb, I think he's number one, but the back scares me. But I'd rather take a.
These
I'd
are the
rather
same
take-
things I've said, but yeah.
He's super smooth. I think he's.
Oh,
super
just on
smooth.
just pure talent
Yeah, pure
outside
talent.
of his back injuries.
I mean, 6'2", 4'2", close to a 4'2", 40. You know what I mean? Like big, strong. Like I said when I was watching him, he reminded me of an actual eagle just flying. You know what I mean? Which is kind of crazy.
With this trade, I think Giants could be a winner out of this. They might have been talking themselves out of doing something silly and doubling down on that.
And real quick, before we announce the pick, I just want to say thank you to all that tuned in. Thank you all to the new subscribers. Hopefully you guys stay around. We do crazy shows like that. The eastwestfootballnetwork.com. Man, you should go check out the content on there. And 2021 is right behind us. 2021 is right behind us. And 2022 is on, and we're already moving along. So thank you all to have stayed on board and watched us through this entire year and last year. Yep, it's for Devontae Smith. Yep. So the Eagles just jumped up 2, gave up a third to get Devontae Smith. So they
Well,
obviously,
I'm surprised.
I'm not mad
I'm
at
not
that.
really surprised that happened because
And you keep
we
them,
asked them also.
and you keep them away from whoever.
yeah, but still, you're the Cowboys. You don't have corners to. You only have one corner right now that could
You
probably
keep them
keep
away
up
from the
with them.
Giants.
Well,
So then the Giants pick next, and then the Eagles pick again, right? Or
Yeah.
that's the pick they give up.
That's the pick they gave up.
But then,
against
but then
Dallas.
that's when you say Khalid Farley could. Jerry,
Yeah.
the Cowboys can move back and get Khalid Farley.
Yeah, the only thing that scares me is Christian Barrymore. He's the one who scares me. I don't want him, but I think that at that point, that's where the Cowboys probably look at. But hey, that's 10 picks in. We've been on for an hour and 36 minutes. Once they announce this pick, I believe we are offline for a while too.
And then also, we'll be streaming live as well on IG Live after the draft. Get some live reactions, so make sure you join me. I think Jerry might join, and the rest of the network. So if you guys aren't doing anything after draft, make sure you guys tune in.
For sure. All right, pick is in. Do we wait until people can fact check me? Yeah, let them fact check me real quick. Yeah, this is the spot where you want to be. We'll get to
Devontae
the news
Smith
before
did mention in
anybody
an
else.
interview a few days ago that he wouldn't mind playing with Jalen again.
It makes sense, man. You give your quarterback what he wants.
The Dallas Cowboys have traded the 10th pick to the Philadelphia Eagles. With the 10th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Devontae Smith.
Get help for Jalen. Let's get explosive. I like it. And he stays away from the Giants. We don't got to guard him.
We'll see what the Dallas Cowboys do. Thank you all for staying on.
That's a win. I think that's a win-win. That's a win-win all around.
I think you're right.
Dallas moves back.
Right.
They'll pick up the same player they probably would have picked anyway. Then I got an extra pick.
Yeah, they get an extra pick to move up if they need to in the second or early in the third. Gentlemen, thank you all for coming on.
Yep.
It was awesome. It was fun. Let's enjoy the rest of this. And like I said, tune into our Instagram, and we're going to be going live with reactions right then and there. So congratulations, Eagles fans. Congratulations, Broncos fans. And congratulations, Panther fans. Your teams really won. Have a good night, guys.